In today's video, we are going to look at Bitcoin, altcoins, the altcoins that I think will do very well this year. Also going to look at tariffs, what's going on in the market. So good one. Make sure you pay attention. Okay, let's start with the current situation in the United States. The government of the United States is running with huge deficits, which means the difference between what they spend and what they earn. In the last few years, the United States has been spending far more than what's earning. Currently, 838 billion more than it collected in revenue from October to January of 2025, which means they are running out of 838 billion. They are spending more that they are earning. That's why the US government debt keeps increasing. Is around 36 trillion, as you can see here. So the tariffs that the Trump administration is doing is to try to combat that in order to also make the manufacturing system industry in the United States stronger, because the United States is too dependent on China and other countries. So he's trying to make every industry in the United States dependent on USA instead of relying in China or India, whatever country they are using to import. They are creating these tariffs, so people have to almost bet in the US. So tariffs short to medium term, they will not be very good. Inflation will run high because it's taxation on imported goods. So for all the businesses in the United States that use China, like almost every single country uses to import goods, they're going to have massive taxation. It's not good short to medium term. Long term, I think, will be good because USA will have a stronger economy, will have a manufacturing industry far stronger than it is at the moment. So this is the current problem. That's why also you look at the stock market, it's going down, crypto, because the tariffs are not very good short to medium term. But it's a way of trying to combat this huge debt, which is running at 36 trillion. The only way to do that is to cut the deficits, and the way to do that is trying to starting to have more revenue with taxation, with the manufacturing industry, which at the moment is really bad. So that's what's happening currently. Interest rates are still very high. They are transitioning from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing. This year, the Federal Reserve is already selling far less US treasuries, which are government debt and also mortgage-backed securities. So they are tempering that, selling far less. And I think around end of this year, we might transition to quantitative easing, unless we have a big crisis, stock market goes down massively, crypto too, and then Federal Reserve is almost obligated to transition to quantitative easing. And historically, that was when altcoins started to do very, very well. So if you look at altcoins today, we are having good bounces across altcoins. Almost every coin is green today, but still not confirmed for me to have a confirmation that this is really legit. This move, Bitcoin has to close above 93k. So let's look at Bitcoin. First chart, and very, very important. So this is money supply, global M2, which tracks the amount of money in circulation, deposits, really important metric for liquidity, has the 90% hit rate. If you compare Bitcoin and money supply, which means Bitcoin is tracking what money supply does 90% of the times. If you look at 1 year time frame, you have to add, I'll say, 180 days of lag to have the best results. And with that lag, which means Bitcoin has 107 days to do the same as global M2. So currently, if Bitcoin keeps tracking, as you can see, it's been tracking really well. Money supply and Bitcoin, very similar moves. We're going to have a move around beginning of May. So really good, 90% is pretty damn high. Money supply is a really good indicator for liquidity. Liquidity is running high. Risk on assets are going to do very well. So this is what is currently happening. That's what I expect. Maybe Bitcoin comes a bit more another time to 78 to 80k. I don't think we lose the lows around 77 more or less. I think we hold this. Worst case scenario for me for Bitcoin would be to come towards 70k. That would be my worst case scenario. I don't think we lose that, and it's very important. This was last bull market top around 69k. So you don't want Bitcoin to lose that, otherwise things change. Till then, this is just a normal correction for Bitcoin. If we look at, let me show you. If we look at the last dips, it's actually very normal. So right here we went from 73k to 48, so 33% correction. And if you look at the moment, if we had even a 30% correction, it's around 75k. If we have a bit more, around 33 is around 70k, 72. I think this is a normal correction. Yes, trend is bearish at the moment. We need to close above 95k to become bullish again. We are making lower lows and lower highs, as you can see here. So until we close above this 95, I'd say, is still in a downtrend, making lower lows and lower highs. But similar to this phase right here, where we're making lower lows and lower highs, and then we had the big bounce again, I think there is a set of conditions very similar. People are really bearish, and I remember here everyone was saying Bitcoin is going to 20k, and after a month Bitcoin just doubled in price. So something I'm looking at. Also, momentum indicator on the weekly is in the same level when Bitcoin was around 49k. So, and also right here around 26. So the last 3 times that Bitcoin was around this level, we had big moves. Looking at money supply, I think a big move is coming for Bitcoin around beginning of May. Let's see, it might fail, but still 90% correlation, that's pretty good. Another thing I'm looking at, Bitcoin dominance. Many people are asking about altcoins, normal. If you look at the last few cycles, we only had a bull market for altcoins when Bitcoin dominance hit around 70%. And remember, when Bitcoin dominance is around 70%, it means the sentiment on altcoins is really bearish. Bitcoin with 70% of market dominance is really bad for altcoins. So just imagine how bearish people were around this time. But still, we came here and then we had massive alt season. We had here a mini one, and here we had full blast alt season when the Federal Reserve started cutting rates, was in quantitative easing, was 0%, yeah, around COVID time, and then we had massive alt season. So again, I think we might reach again between 67 and 70%, and then even if it's not such a big alt season like before, I still think we go from 70% maybe towards 55, and that would give us really good gains in terms of altcoins. So that's what currently I'm looking at. Another very important thing is this. So we are very close to, for me, a potential bottom for Ethereum against Bitcoin. Ethereum went down against Bitcoin from 2021 till now 2025, 73%. So you'll be far better in Bitcoin than Ethereum. We are getting to the same level, a really good demand zone on the monthly, where Ethereum went up. This was actually bear market, where Ethereum went up against Bitcoin 352%. So this is a good level where I think we're going to have a really good reaction for Ethereum. Even if I'm not really bullish Ethereum long term, I think Solana and Sui are better options. They are faster, they scale, cheaper. But looking at every single indicator, I think we are due for a bounce for Ethereum, and I think this is the best place. So Bitcoin dominance getting to 70%, Ethereum against Bitcoin getting to a potential bottom, the Federal Reserve going from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, all that together, I think we're going to have still a good bounce for altcoins. And the ones I'm looking at currently, one is Tau. Price action is bearish, but if you look what's happening under the hood, if you go here to subnets, let's go here. If you look at subnets on Tau, it's absolutely insane. You have really high quality companies there, decentralized companies. For me, it's even better than Solana because the amount of quality projects there is bigger than any other project. So if you go here, Taustat, subnets, you have Shoots, amazing general AI compute, decentralized subnet. You have Target, similar to Shoots. You have proprietary trading network, which they use to give the best trading signals in the world with the best quants. in a way that never happened before. You have gradients for AI models, Templar, decentralized training. So you have so many good quality subnets that I think Tau for me is the Ethereum of this cycle, or the Solana, and I think this has potential to be 50 to 100 billion market cap, no problem. And I think some of these subnets with the current market cap, they'll do 10 to 20x or even more than that, especially Shoots, Proprietary Trading Network, Targan is very good, Templar. You have really good subnets. So with 70 plus subnets, you want to have hundreds of them. I don't see any better projects to be in than Tau. Fairly launched like Bitcoin, gonna have the halving this year. No VCs involved. For me, is the best project. So current one that I'm looking at is Tau. If you look in terms of price action, is bearish. Where it becomes more bullish, say closing above 300, above 500, really bullish. For now, we are still holding. I think it's a similar situation when we were around 200 in July, and then Tau went from 200 to 700. I think the next time we're gonna break this all-time high around 700, and we're gonna see Tau at 1000. So I think it's a really good level to DCA for Tau around 200s. If Bitcoin starts break from here, we couldn't even have Tau around 130, which would be long-term really bullish. So this is, in my opinion, the best project to buy. Another one that I really like and I think has a lot of potential is Sui. So Sui, for me, one of the few competitors to Solana in terms of technology, developers, community. Of course, I think Solana will keep being the number one layer one because it has more developers, more people using their applications. But Sui still, I think, is a really good competitor, even maybe a better technology than Solana. So for Sui, needs to close about $3 to do a breakout structure. We are in a key level on the weekly. Not only this is a great demand zone, also was a previous supply zone turning into demand. So this area right here between $2 and 160, I think is also really good dollar cost average for Sui. So Sui, I think, also will do very well. Another one I think has a lot of potential is Sonic. Currently one of the fastest layer ones, if not the fastest one, with almost 1,500 transactions per second, is already beating Solana. So I think Sonic, great technology, great developments. The transition from Phantom to Sonic is really impressive. So I think this one also will do well. So I think Sonic, after Sui and Solana, is for me the best layer one. I think we'll have lots of usage. Mantra is interesting too for real world assets. I'm also currently monitoring this one, but the ones I'm focusing on is Tau, Sui, Solana. Sonic also comes. Hyperliquid, I think, is also really good use cases. Decentralized exchange, trying to compete with the biggest ones, Coinbase, Binance. If they succeed, this also can be a 50 to 100 billion market cap project. Because there is no KYC, you can trade big positions, really simple. It's insane. And you can actually have your own assets under your control instead of giving them to Binance or Coinbase. So I think Hyperliquid also has really big potential. So those are the altcoins I'm looking at. There are other altcoins I think have potential, but these ones are the ones I'm looking at. So Tau for me is the number one because leverages the biggest technology we ever had, AI. Sui second, I think, will compete with Solana. You'll have other altcoins that will do better. For me, these are the best risk reward, where I don't have any problem in waiting 2 years for these coins, because for me they are long-term investments. If you want to know more, make sure you join my VIP Discord. I'm creating really great things there. A new website where you're gonna have all the information to become a pro at trading. So if you wanna work with me, message me on Instagram. It's verified. I'm also managing a fund. So if you have money to invest and you want to learn how to do it in the best way possible, message me and I'm gonna let you know about everything. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you.